It just might be the greatest sports franchise in the history of sports. A place where legends are made, and there's always something to talk about. Get ready to immerse yourself in pinstripes. Start spreading the news, hosted by Paul Semendinger and E.J. Fagan, a couple of doctors with a prescription for Yankee fever. And now, here's Dr. Paul Semendinger and Dr. E.J. Fagan. Get ready to start spreading the news.
All right, my friends, welcome to the Dr. Sem Yankee Show and the Start Spreading the News Yankees podcast. These air on Saturday mornings at 7 a.m. and Monday evenings at 9 p.m. EJ and I do the Start Spreading the News podcast, and we really haven't done much of it this last year because I've been working, and I have just 500 million Monday night meetings, and that's just gotten in the way of us being able to do those shows. So we will be back doing those shows live, hopefully, once July rolls around. We keep delaying it, but the delay is always on my end because I'm just too busy. But I'll be retired again soon. By the way, I didn't do this last week. Let's make today a great day. How do you make your day great? It's simple. You look around the world and you notice the good. You take the good, you put it in your heart and you cherish it. And then you spread it forward. Sometimes people say, Dr. Sem, there is no good. I say there is. But if you can't find any good, then go out and create your own. Do something nice for somebody else. And then there's good. And then you can cherish it. And then you can give it away. Remember, when we give love, it comes back to us in greater amounts than we ever gave. Now, speaking of good, I have one of my dearest friends as our special guest. But I would be remiss if I didn't say that this show is brought to us by Artemisia Publishing, a fantastic publisher located in the United States of America. They publish a gazillion different books in a variety of different genres. And they, of course, have published numerous of my books, including the Motivational 365.2. If you think there's something you would like to do and you're afraid you can't do it, read that book. That will motivate you to do it. Roy White's From Compton to the Bronx, the wonderful The Least Among Them, my newest Yankee book, The Greatest New York Yankees by Uniform Number. Mike Whiteman, by the way, who is our special guest, has helped on numerous of these books as an important editor. And of course, the greatest novel ever written. If you have not read Scattering the Ashes, your life is incomplete. Complete your life. Make your life one that is totally perfect in every way by enjoying my great novel, The Scattering the Ashes, also available on audiobook recorded by me. So that's the introduction stuff. And ladies and gentlemen, my dear friend, the wonderful Mike Whiteman. Mike, how are you?
Paul, I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing great. It seems as though we were together not very long ago.
You know, it just seems like yesterday. or maybe sooner. Maybe.
Might have been just a little while ago. I was recording two shows in the same evening. By the way, this is the book I was talking about by Tom Stanton. It's called Ty and the Babe.
Oh, yeah.
And Baseball's Fiercest Rivals, a surprising friendship, and the 1941 Has-Been Golf Championship. This is a phenomenal book. I can't recommend it highly enough.
Yeah. Hey, I got to say something. One of my favorite parts of watching your show is when you encourage us all to make today a great day. And, that's, sometimes we kind of get lost in our, in the baggage in our head and maybe, what's going on. And just that reminder is a good thing that we can, we may be limited what we can control in life, but we can control what's right here. And,
correct. And there is good, even in our darkest days, there are good things that are happening.
Mm-hmm.
We're breathing, there's food, we have family, we have friends, we have shelter, there are kind people, there are nice things that are happening. And I think we need to spend more time remembering and appreciating those good things that are happening. And again, one of those good things is, if it weren't for Start Spreading the News, you and I would have never been able to meet up and become friends.
It's amazing. And, it was it's about 8 years ago, I think. It was right before Aaron Boone was hired. Because I remember that was one of the first things that I wrote about. I think that there were two things I wrote about, and Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Boone.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we were terribly excited about Giancarlo Stanton, and we thought him and Aaron Judge would just smack 50 home runs because both of them had hit like 50 plus home runs in 2017. So we figured that they would just smack 50 home runs all the time. Maybe the excitement of Aaron Boone wasn't quite as much, but we were quite excited about Stanton and about Judge together.
Yes, we were. And we were wrong about Stanton. He, unfortunately, I think we were right. It was a great move. It just didn't work out. Mm-hmm. But the hesitancy of hiring a guy who never managed before to help lead the Yankees to a world championship proved to be precise and poignant and prescient, and I'm trying to think of other P words. Perfect, because all these years later, Aaron Boone is still trying to figure out how to lead the Yankees to a world championship.
I remember I was a big Girardi guy. I liked Girardi a lot.
I love Girardi.
I liked Girardi. He's a good manager and a good person. So yeah, I was disappointed when they fired him. And I was also perplexed. The P word. I was perplexed when they fired him after they made that run in 2017.
Yes, and my problem with Aaron Boone was he had never managed. I'd managed more games than him. I'd managed Little League, and he hadn't even done that. And to turn over the kingdom of a team on the precipice of the World Series to a guy who doesn't have any experience leading a club, not in the minors, not in the majors, never was even a coach, didn't coach them or manage in college ball or Little League or anything. And to say, yeah, we think you can do it was the biggest leap of faith. And he couldn't do it. He hasn't done it. Maybe he can someday, but he hasn't yet.
It seemed to have been like a fad back then. That was a fad because I don't think Boone well, I think there were some other guys like that as well. It just seemed to be kind of like a fad. I think wasn't like Robin Ventura. Wasn't he hired as a manager without managerial experience?
Maybe. I don't remember, but maybe.
And I think now, let's see, Carlos Beltran. That was later, I think, when the Mets had hired him. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, but it surprises me that he's 8 years in, and or no, he's 8 years. Yeah, this is his 8th year as well. So I don't know who will last longer, Aaron Boone with the Yankees or me with Start Spreading the News.
You would Start Spreading the News because you ain't going anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere. No one else will have me.
And I won't let you go. We'll have to have a big contract negotiation when major media entities says they're going to pay you millions of dollars and I have to keep you. That's going to be tough.
Call my agent.
I can offer you some good pizza in Hershey every now and again, and breakfast at some diners. That's
done.
They should have had me negotiate with Juan Soto. He would have stayed as a Yankee. Juan, I can't give you a lot of money, but I can bring you over for pizza.
We got a good pizza place we can take you. Yeah.
JoJo's Pizza in Hummelstown, PA. It's not so bad.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all.
All right, so I think today you're going to try to stump me with all sorts of random baseball trivia questions. I have no idea what you're going to ask, and if I get them wrong, that's half the fun. And last week we looked at baseball cards from Hall of Famers, and this week we're going to talk baseball by just starting with trivia and seeing where that leads us.
Now these will be primarily focused on the Yankees.
That's
primarily
good.
Focused on the Yankees.
That's in my wheelhouse.
That's in your wheelhouse. So let me ask. So the first one I'm going to ask you is one that I just came upon recently. And that is, who was the Yankee starter in the first game at Yankee Stadium in 1923?
All right, I think I know that. I think it was Bob Shockey.
Bob Shockey.
Yes.
There you go. Very good.
I kind of remember Bob Shockey being. I didn't see it because I wasn't a Yankee fan in 1976. I wasn't quite into it. I didn't quite know what baseball was, but I remember getting the 1977 Yankees yearbook when I first went to my first game, and I kind of remember a photo spread that showed pictures from the opening of the new stadium from the year before, and they're saying Bob Shockey. That's my recollection, and that's how I would know that answer.
Yeah, years ago, I went to the Hall of Fame. Spent a couple of days. This one probably about 2018, 2019. I just drove up myself, spent a couple of days there, and I went into the library, and I had asked them beforehand if they could pull some things from Yankee Stadium opening, from the original Yankee Stadium, and of course, the Hall of, and so you've accessed the Hall of Fame library with your writing, and they're wonderful there. They're absolutely wonderful. I think it was a guy named Cassidy, if I'm correct.
Cassidy Lent. She is just remarkable.
She was so kind, so welcoming. And so when I got there, she said, "Oh, I've been expecting you." Handed me a number of materials about the original Yankee Stadium. One of the things was a program, under some sheets or whatever, for the first Yankee Stadium game. And so, of course, I had to wear gloves on it too there, but it was pretty neat to see.
It's great stuff.
Yeah. Sometimes I think Bob Shockey, I'm not sure if Bob Shockey really gets, gets the love that he should be. Bob Shockey was a good pitcher.
Bob Shockey, you're absolutely correct. I'll pull up his numbers right here if we have a second.
That's what I got here. Yeah. 4-time 20-game winner. 195 career wins.
46.6 WAR. He pitched from 1913 to 1927. Yeah, led the league in games finished in 16, in ERA in 1920, in saves. How about that? Saves. He won 24 and 14 in 1960 with the Yankees, and also had 8 saves. They didn't keep track of saves back then, but he had a 7 WAR season in 22. He had an 8 WAR season in 1920, a 6.9 WAR season in 1916. Member of the 27 Yankees, though he only pitched in 19 games that year, only made 2 starts. But yeah, Bob Shockey, he's one of those guys that's been forgotten about, but he was a big-time player, and he helped bridge the Yankees from the Highlander days. Was he ever a Highlander? No, from the early Yankee days. He became a Yankee in 1915, but he bridged the gap from when they were just an also-ran to when they were great.
His 1916 season, 24 wins, 14 losses. 53 games, only 27 games started. So he only started 27 games, yet he won 24 games. 20, like you said, 24 games finished, 21 complete games. That's kind of a crazy season. He must have when he pitched relief, he wasn't just coming in to do 1 inning at a time.
No. He was coming in and he was pitching and pitching and pitching. And what's that, 1916?
1916.
Yeah, so I mean, Baseball Reference is the greatest. He pitched on May 2nd, May 5th, May 6th, May 12th, May 19th, May 24th, May 26th, May 30th. Some of those were starts. Some of those were out of the bullpen. 9 innings, 5 innings, 0.1, 1.1, 8 innings, 9 innings, 2 innings, 8 innings. That was just the month of May. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Okay, I got another one for you here.
All right, I'm 1 for 1.
So before now, of course, we know Don Mattingly, one of both of our favorites, many Yankee fans' favorite player. His number was number 23. What was his number? No, that was not his first number with the Yankees. What was his first number?
That's a great question. And it gives me an opportunity to plug the greatest new book I have, The Greatest New York Yankees by Uniform Number, where I go through and talk about every Yankee uniform number and who was the best at those uniform numbers. So, like, we highlight every single uniform number, and I pick who was the best player while wearing that number. So Mattingly came up wearing number 46.
46.
I'm 2 for 2.
Then he sliced it in half.
And his career took off.
23. Absolutely. Do you think Don Mattingly is a Hall of Famer, Paul?
Yes. I mean, his overall WAR and all that, I think it's in the 40s. I think there's other first basemen who were better, like Keith Hernandez, who also belongs in there. If you asked me, you've actually changed my thinking on this, but if you asked me 10 or 15 years ago, I would have said, I love Mattingly. He's probably not a Hall of Famer. But, and I don't want to say watered down, but they have watered down. They've let many more borderline guys in. And this isn't to disparage Ted Simmons or Harold Baines, but Mattingly means more to the history of baseball, and he was a better player than those guys. Mm-hmm. And I know people disagree with the logic where you say, well, if he's better than this guy, that guy brought the bar down to here, and he's better than them, so he should go in. Somebody says that's false equivalency or whatever. Well, no, it's really not. If you were better than guys that are there, you belong to be in there, and Mattingly belongs in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree, and I lean maybe a little further on the fame piece of it as well. And I think, I mean, like, you can't just be famous and not be and be like a zero player. So I wouldn't go that far, but a guy like Mattingly, I think if you just look at the pure stats, he might come up a little shy or else maybe borderline. But then I think you get, what he meant to the Yankees, what he meant to the sport. And I think that pushes him over the top. I'm thrilled, living in Pennsylvania here. Of course, Don Mattingly now manages the Phillies. And, when I was a kid, the notion of Don Mattingly, managing the Phillies, that would have just driven me nuts. Because, Don Mattingly's a Yankee, not a Philly. But it has been fun watching him manage the Phillies and see them respond to him.
You opened my eyes to the idea of having a bigger Hall of Fame. And so I just sort of have the question of, if Don Mattingly were in the Hall of Fame, would the Hall of Fame somehow be weakened? No, no one can make that argument. Like, the Hall of Fame's not what it once was because Don Mattingly's there. No, right. I think Don Mattingly enhances the Hall of Fame by being part of it. And so he needs to be there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. Let me
fire
I'm
2 for 2. That's all right.
2 for 2. Okay, here. So we know that Mickey Mantle has a record 18 home runs in the World Series, in his World Series career. And of course, that's back when the Yankees, they were in the World Series every year, back in the 50s and the early 60s. But which Yankee is in second place with 15 home runs?
All right, so I'm going to need some guidance here. This isn't cheating necessarily.
Okay.
Okay. Is the question, I know you have some old-fashioned baseball digests that you're culling some of the questions from, possibly. So I don't know, is this a question that's like from a 78 baseball digest, or is this a newer question?
This is it is a newer source, but an older player.
Oh, all right.
Newer source, older player. So he could be in that 1978 Baseball Digest that I
He
have.
could. All right. Because then, all right. So just to be fair, because I never cheat and I always am honest about everything, but when we're doing this, so I don't want to pretend like I know everything and somehow I just have all the answers. I was going to say Bernie Williams if you said it was a recent question, because I know Bernie had a whole bunch of postseason homers. He might have the most postseason homers in history, but if it's not Bernie, because it could be somebody from an old period, I would have to say Babe Ruth.
Babe Ruth is the man. Yes.
All right. So I get it right only because of your hint. If you didn't give me that hint and you said the number is accurate as of today, I would have leaned to Bernie, and then you would have said no, it's somebody from a long time ago, and then I would have said Babe Ruth. So I'll give myself half. It's instead of
give yourself
a
a half a point at least. But and of course it's the feat of getting all these World Series home runs. Again, back in a day where you didn't have playoffs and stuff. So, gosh, how many? And again, I like to ask, what if Babe Ruth had 3 rounds of playoffs every year, and how many postseason home runs would he have? Would he be on all the time too? Because you think, if you constantly if you're 3 series every year, you got to have a dud every now and then, I would suspect.
Yeah, I'm sure. But, the Babe had this knack of being able to rise to the occasion. So who hits the first home run in Yankee Stadium? Babe Ruth. Who hits the first home run in the All-Star game? That was 1933 we decided. So he was old, Babe Ruth. Who calls his shot in the 1932 World Series? Babe Ruth. And some people, he didn't really call his shot. But when you read accounts of that whole thing, players said, well, maybe he didn't call that shot. I'd like to believe that he did. But they said, Babe would do that all the time. He would say, I'm going to go up there and hit a home run, and he would. So whether or not he actually called that pitch against Charlie Root in the 32 World Series, I think he did. But even if he didn't, the contemporary reports say Babe Ruth would do that kind of stuff all the time.
Right. I mean, even if he didn't, you believe that he could.
Yes.
You believe that he could. Absolutely.
Wouldn't be like Anthony Volpe saying, I'm going to hit one on dead center field.
Right.
Like if he might do that on occasion, but he couldn't predict it because the likelihood of it happening is very limited.
Right.
Babe Ruth could do it because he was so far ahead of his contemporaries too. Like it was a different game he was playing at times.
I think how he just revolutionized the game, and just is he? I mean, gosh, if you think of the most influential players of baseball, Babe Ruth, Jackie Robinson, it's Mount Rushmore of great baseball influence. Babe Ruth, Jackie Robinson, Willie Mays. That we should do a show on that sometime.
That's a great one because I the first 2 are simple.
Mm-hmm.
You could argue George Wright, the Cincinnati Reds makes professional baseball, makes it something that people care about.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to talk about influence on the game, nobody remembers him, but I don't know if there would be professional baseball without George Wright.
Right.
And then, like when you argue Willie Mays, is Willie bigger than Mickey Mantle?
Is bigger than Mickey Mantle, or is he bigger than like Stan Musial?
Or Ted Williams, or Hank Aaron?
Ted Williams might make a case for himself. Because not only was he a legendary baseball player, and toss in his military career, and toss in there's that air about him that he's bigger than life. So you might be able to make a little case for a Williams perhaps, but. Yeah, it's hard. I'm trying to think of any pitchers. I don't know there's any pitchers, Cy Young, of course, but I don't I don't know, obviously didn't have the effect that, say Ruth and like Jackie Robinson had.
It's a great story about Christy Mathewson because, he was a college guy, Pennsylvania guy, went to Bucknell, and he was one of the first clean cut major leaguers.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a picture that someone took of him back then. When they took pictures of baseball players, they took portraits. They were all rough and tumble guys. And then there was the picture of old Christy Mathewson, and he was clean cut and he had a little wry smile on his face. And a lot of people say back then he was one of the reasons that he brought dignity to the game. So you could say him, Lou Gehrig with his famous speech and ALS and all that. It's a great topic. Yeah. I think Babe and Jackie are easy, and I think the rest it becomes a big debate on who it could possibly be or who they could possibly be.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, okay. I've got another one here. In 1972, Yankees had a first baseman outfielder named Danny Cater.
Mm-hmm.
And he was traded to the Boston Red Sox.
Easy.
For who?
Sparky Lyle.
Sparky Lyle. Is Sparky Lyle a Hall of Famer, Paul?
I don't quite think Sparky makes it. I think you can make an argument. He won the Cy Young Award in 1977. He was one of baseball's first true relievers, fireman. I think he was the first pitcher ever to have an entrance song. They played Pomp and Circumstance for a little while, and I think he actually said he hated when they did it, and they stopped it. I think they only did it for one season, and the legend grew that it was more than that. But you could make an argument for Sparky Lyle. I think before I'd pick Sparky Lyle, there might be like a guy like Mike Marshall, who pitched so much in the 70s. What, he pitched 100 games out of the bullpen in like 1974. He also won a Cy Young Award, I believe. There might be some other relief pitchers I would think about before Sparky. Again, I don't think Sparky would hurt the Hall of Fame by being in it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a harder case for him.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I just scribbled down career WAR for three relievers. Sparky's at about 23. Bruce Sutter was at 24. And Riley Fingers was at about 25. Now, WAR's not everything. Not everything, and especially as a relief pitcher, like Sparky averaged 1.5 WAR per year, which you think, well, gosh, that's not Hall of Fame. But as a relief pitcher whose contribution is coming in and pitching, back then, 2 or 3 innings to close out a game, you're not going to really accumulate a lot of WAR. But I was just reading something about Sparky, and had just taken a look at his career, and I think you're right. I think he falls maybe just a bit shy, but maybe not as shy as as we think. And of course, he doesn't have those gaudy save stats, because he pitched in the 70s and the early 80s.
Right. Bruce Sutter is a borderline guy. I remember he got in before Goose Gossage, and I was annoyed with that because I think Gossage was a much more dominant, influential reliever. But they gave Bruce Sutter because supposedly he invented the cut fastball or whatever it was, or the fork ball or something. And it just seemed like, really? I don't know. Bruce Sutter quite rose to that occasion.
I speak no ill of Bruce Sutter because he's a local guy.
Oh, nice.
He's a local Lancaster County guy. So,
well, maybe he'll be at the auction when we go.
So, yes, I say we speak no ill of Bruce Sutter. Bruce Sutter, Gene Garber, Tommy Herr, local guys. But
nice. Tommy Herr, yeah, second baseman on the St. Louis Cardinals there in the 80s.
Yeah, real good second baseman. Baseman. Okay. We all know about the flip in 2001 Yankees against the then Oakland Athletics. I think Terrence Long smacks a ball into the right field corner, and the errant throw that is scooped up by Jeter flipped, looking like an option quarterback from college football to Posada, tags out. I think was it a Jeremy Giambi, I think. Who made the errant throw from right field?
Shane Spencer.
Shane Spencer. You got
Yes.
it. You
Oh,
got it.
boy, I'm hot today.
You are hot today.
Wow. This is great. I'm feeling like I'm very smart.
Yeah, you are very smart. You are very smart. Do you remember 1998 Shane Spencer in 98?
Oh, the home run dispenser.
I never saw anything like that.
Oh, yeah, we did. Kevin Moss was similar to that, but in 1990.
Okay, yeah. But I think Spencer, didn't he like smack a bunch of grand slams too?
He might have. He might have had at least 1 or 2 grand slams there.
Yeah.
And then he missed an optional workout or something. Maybe it was in 2000 against the Mets as the Yankees were preparing. I forget. There was some type of controversy. He didn't go to a practice, an optional playoff practice or before the World Series, and people were annoyed. Sometimes people get a little too big for their britches or something. But yeah, he was fun. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, well, yeah. I remember, and of course, 98 was, of course, the perfect season. So, and that just put the exclamation point on at least the regular season.
100%.
Okay, I've got, and let's see here. I had asked a question about the opening of original Yankee Stadium in 1923. I now have a question about the opening of Yankee Stadium in 2009. The new Yankee Stadium. Who hit the first home run?
Oh, I think that's the one question I saw. That was Jorge Posada.
All right. I'm sorry. All right, let's
actually the new Yankee Stadium opened in I think the very first game was April 3rd, 2009. It was my son Alex's birthday. It was a scrimmage. It was against the Chicago Cubs, and we got tickets. I took him to the opening of the brand new Yankee Stadium. I was there with Alex the day it opened for their very first game. That was cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. Okay, here. Let me see here. Alrighty here. I'm starting to run shy here. Let me see here. Okay, here. Okay. Oh, no. Okay. On August 25th, 2011.
Oh, God.
Robinson Cano, Russell Martin, and who else hit grand slams for the Yankees that day?
God. 2011, Curtis Granderson.
Yes, that's right. Yes, that's right.
That was nothing more than a guess, a shot in the dark. That was just somehow you're playing basketball and you take the ball at the end of the gym period and you throw it in the air and it just happens to go in the net. And they're like, wow. You're like, yeah, well, it happens all the time.
I'm glad you said it because I was going to start singing, the Grandy Man, the old John Sterling.
Who I miss greatly.
Oh my gosh, he was so much fun. It was so much fun.
Again, I don't want to besmirch the current Yankee announcers. They're professionals. They do their job. But John Sterling had a voice that felt like you were listening to a baseball game, and the current Yankee announcers don't have that. Their voice doesn't resonate like that. And I used to love to go to sleep if there was a game on and fall asleep to, and it'll be a 3-2 pitch to Jeter, swung on and bounced to short. And it was just rhythmic and the intonation and everything. It was just soothing. I've tried falling asleep to the modern day announcers, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And I miss that.
Yeah. He was a classic, that's for sure.
I loved him. All right, why don't you give me one more, and then we'll wrap this thing up.
All righty here. So I'm just going to pull out here. Oh, let's see here. Okay, here. No, we're not going to do that one. I'm not going to do that one. We're going to go to another one here.
Is this from an old Baseball Digest?
I was looking. I just love. I'll do a commercial. I just love Baseball Digest.
You actually subscribe to the online where you can read every single issue.
I do. You can read every issue back. I think the original Baseball Digest was like early 1940s. And so you can go back online, see every Baseball Digest. And
That's crazy.
It's just, I've used it so many times for my writing at to start spreading news. So I just do it for fun. And, and it is one of those things that I just, there's no question. I just renew it every year. That's
great. Year. I used to love it when it was a little magazine.
Mm-hmm.
When they were small, I would read them. Yep, just like that. And I'd read them with my breakfast every morning. And I'd read the same issues 1,000 times. And my dad was a school teacher, and his library got Baseball Digest, his school library. But they didn't keep the things at the end of the year. Maybe they kept them for a year or two, but then they didn't keep magazines ad infinitum in an old school library. And then rather than throwing them out, my dad would take the ones they were, I guess they spread them out on a table. These are all going to be discarded if anybody has any use for them. And he would bring home the old Baseball Digests, and I'd get to read them and read them and read them over and over and over again.
Yeah. Okay, last question. Of course, we know the Yankees and their fabled history and their captains.
Oh, boy.
And so the question, here, Yankee captains, Gehrig, Munson,
Nettles,
Mattingly, Willie Randolph, Greg Nettles. Wasn't Ron Guidry, I think, a co-captain?
Co-captain with Willie Randolph.
Yep. Jeter, Aaron Judge. Am I missing anybody?
There were a couple before Gehrig. Babe Ruth was the captain for a minute. There's a debate about one guy. I can't remember who it was. There was a debate. Sometimes there's information that gets spread through the internet that's incorrect, and somebody had made a list and it got published over and over and over again. And I started an article for Start Spreading the News. This is probably 5 or 8 years ago, disproving that player was ever a captain. I don't quite remember who it was. I think Hal Chase might have been a captain for a minute. All right. So what's the question?
Who is the longest tenured?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Wow. Because they all became captains at not early in their careers.
Mm-hmm.
It was always towards the tail end. Munson became captain probably in 76. Or was it later? I once wrote an article, too, about the fact that it might be in the Least Among Them. I might have a chapter in the Least Among Them about this, where I don't know if the Yankees have ever won a world championship, or they haven't won many world championships with captains. Like most of Gehrig's career, he wasn't the captain. I mean, I guess they did at the end because they won in 36, 37, 38, and 39, and he was on those teams. I forget exactly what the premise was, but there was something about when the Yankees have a captain, they don't necessarily do great. Jeter became captain after the Yankees won all those World Series, I believe. All right, I'm going to go with Aaron Judge. That's just my crazy question because he's been the captain for a number of years, either him or Jeter. I'm gonna go with Judge.
Jeter.
All right. I swung and missed. I had a long foul ball, and it was caught at the warning track. This is my runner-up guess.
It was a good effort.
When did he become captain? Do you have that?
Oh, I don't, but wasn't it somewhere around like 2003 or so?
I think it was later.
It was later? Okay. It was right around the time, wasn't it like around the time, I think, where maybe
05?
Maybe he was, maybe like Steinbrenner wasn't happy with him originally, and maybe he like tried
You are
to
amazing.
do it.
June 3rd, 2003. I thought it was later.
Okay.
So they did win a World Series with Jeter as the captain.
2009, yeah.
All right. When did Thurman Munson become captain? Do you know?
Oh, my. I do not know that.
April 17th, 1976.
Okay. Well, and yeah, he had what?
And then he
won the
took
American League pennant, and then he won 2 World Series. And
so whatever my thought was on how well the Yankees do when they have a captain is I'm misremembering whatever it was that I'd figured out regarding that, because it doesn't make any sense, because Jeter won a World Series. Gehrig must have won a whole bunch. Munson won 2. Judge hasn't won any. Mattingly didn't win any. With them as captains, Nettles and Randolph and Guidry never won any. So I don't know. Maybe it's the majority of seasons when the Yankees had a captain they didn't win.
Right.
Because Jeter only won 1 after all those years and stuff. All right. Mike, this was a great pleasure. This was always fun.
Yeah, I appreciate the invite. Always glad to chat baseball with you, Paul.
Yeah, me too. You're a good man. And thank you always. And have yourself a wonderful day.
You do the same.
All right, my dear friends, this has been the Start Spreading the News and the Dr. Sem Yankee shows. Have yourselves a wonderful day. Let's go.